For years, the doors appeared to be firmly closed. Prince Harry had walked away from royal life, left Britain, published a deeply personal memoir, appeared in explosive interviews, and accused the institutions surrounding his family of betrayal, manipulation, and silence. Prince William reportedly wanted distance, royal advisors wanted caution, and many observers believed the relationship between Harry and the monarchy had reached the point of no return. But then, behind the walls of one of King Charles's most private homes, something happened that almost nobody expected. There were no television cameras, no carefully staged palace photographs, no smiling family members standing on the Buckingham Palace balcony. Instead, a private meeting was reportedly arranged at Highgrove House, and when the identities of the king's guests became known, the royal world was left stunned. Prince Harry was there, Meghan was reportedly there, and most importantly, their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, were reportedly brought face to face with their grandfather for the first time in years. But this was not simply a family visit, because according to reports, King Charles did not just agree to the meeting, he may have personally pushed for it. And the most surprising part was not who entered Highgrove that day, it was who may have been kept outside the plan. Sources have suggested that even senior members of the royal family were not fully informed beforehand. That raised an uncomfortable question inside royal circles. Was King Charles simply trying to reunite with his grandchildren? Or had the king just made a decision that could permanently change the balance of power inside the monarchy? Because if Charles is willing to bring Harry back into the family's private world, Prince William may soon be forced to confront the one situation he has reportedly spent years trying to avoid. And what happened inside Highgrove may only have been the beginning. To understand why this meeting was so significant, we have to return to the moment when the royal fracture became impossible to hide. In January 2020, Prince Harry and Meghan announced that they intended to step back as senior working members of the royal family. The announcement shocked the palace. The couple later relocated to North America, eventually settling in California, where they began building a life outside the royal institution. At first, there was still hope that the dispute could be managed privately, but that hope quickly disappeared. In their interview with Oprah Winfrey, Harry and Meghan made a series of deeply damaging claims about their time inside the monarchy. They described isolation, emotional distress, and a lack of institutional support. Harry spoke openly about tension with his father and brother. The interview transformed what had once looked like a complicated family disagreement into a global royal crisis. Then came the Netflix documentary, and after that came Harry's memoir, Spare. The book contained personal stories involving King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Princess Catherine. Harry described arguments with his brother and claimed that one confrontation became physical. He also criticized the relationship between the royal family and the British press. For Prince William, the memoir was reportedly viewed as an enormous violation of trust. Private family moments had been published for millions of people to read. Conversations that should have remained behind palace doors had become international headlines. From that moment, reconciliation no longer depended only on apologies. It depended on trust. And trust had almost completely disappeared. That is why the private Highgrove meeting has attracted so much attention. King Charles did not meet Harry on a public platform. He did not invite photographers. He did not issue a dramatic statement announcing that the family had healed. Instead, the meeting was reportedly surrounded by secrecy. That detail may reveal exactly what Charles was trying to test. Could Harry enter a private royal environment without immediately revealing what happened? Could both sides have a conversation that did not become material for another interview, documentary, or book? Could the family protect one quiet moment from the outside world? The secrecy was not simply about avoiding the media. It may have been the first condition of reconciliation. And so far,
almost nothing has emerged about what was actually said inside Highgrove. No detailed accounts of the conversation, no official photograph of Charles with Archie and Lilibet, no carefully worded description of emotional embraces, no public announcement of a new agreement between father and son. The silence may be deliberate, and that silence could be more meaningful than any palace statement, because for the first time in years, Harry and the king may have successfully shared a private family moment without immediately turning it into a public battle. But the emotional center of this story may not be Harry, it may be his children. King Charles has reportedly had very limited opportunities to build a relationship with Archie and Lilibet. The children live thousands of miles away in California. Their lives are largely separate from the traditions, residences, and ceremonies connected to the British monarchy. Archie was born in Britain, but the family moved away while he was still very young. Lilibet was born in the United States and was named in honor of Queen Elizabeth II's childhood nickname. Their distance from the royal family has always represented something larger than geography. They are grandchildren of the reigning monarch, yet they have grown up outside the daily royal world. Charles may be king, head of state, and leader of one of the world's most famous institutions, but in that room at Highgrove, he was also reportedly a grandfather meeting grandchildren he had barely been able to see, and that may explain why he was willing to take such a risk. King Charles has been undergoing treatment following his cancer diagnosis. The palace has remained careful about the details of his condition, while Charles has continued carrying out public responsibilities. But serious illness often changes the way families think about time. Royal disputes that once appeared permanent may suddenly look less important. Arguments over interviews, memoirs, and media coverage may not disappear, but they can become smaller when compared with the possibility of lost years. Harry himself has previously spoken about wanting reconciliation and acknowledged that time with his father is not unlimited. That does not mean every disagreement has been resolved. It does not mean trust has returned, and it certainly does not mean Harry is preparing to resume life as a working royal. But it may mean that Charles no longer wants institutional caution to prevent him from seeing his son and grandchildren. That decision, however, creates a serious problem, because King Charles is not the only person affected by Harry's return. Prince William is the future king, and, unlike Charles, William and Harry's conflict is not simply between a father and a son. It's between two brothers who were once expected to stand beside each other for the rest of their lives. William and Harry shared an extraordinary childhood. They walked behind their mother's coffin while the entire world watched. They grew up under relentless public attention. They served in the armed forces. They created charitable projects together. For years, the public viewed them as a united royal partnership, but behind that image, tensions were developing. Harry has claimed that William questioned his relationship with Meghan and expressed concerns about how quickly the romance was moving. The disagreement grew deeper after Harry and Meghan's departure from royal duties. Then Spare exposed the brothers' most private conflicts. Since then, reports have repeatedly suggested that communication between them has remained extremely limited. William's position is believed to be especially difficult because he is not only Harry's brother, he is also the heir to the throne. Every decision involving Harry has personal and institutional consequences. A private reconciliation could reopen emotional wounds. A public reconciliation could affect the monarchy's image, and allowing Harry closer to the royal circle could create new concerns about confidentiality. That is why King Charles's decision to meet Harry privately may have shocked some members of the family. The king appears to be following his own emotional timeline. William may prefer stronger boundaries. Royal advisors may prefer gradual steps, but King Charles may have decided that waiting for everyone to agree would mean nothing ever changed. And this is where the story becomes far more complicated, because shortly before the reunion, reports claimed that King Charles had gathered senior royals for a rare family dinner. Queen Camilla, Prince William, Princess Anne, and Prince Edward were reportedly present. The timing immediately sparked speculation. Was Charles preparing the family for Harry's arrival?
Was he asking for cooperation? Was he warning them that he intended to meet his younger son regardless of their objections? Or was Harry never discussed at all? The palace has not publicly revealed the private conversation, but the sequence of events has created an extraordinary picture. First, senior royals gather privately. Then, Harry arrives in Britain. Then, Charles reportedly hosts Harry, Meghan, and their children at Highgrove, and the details remain tightly controlled. Coincidence is possible, but royal observers know that major family decisions are rarely made without careful planning. What makes Charles's move even more unexpected is that it appears to challenge the traditional royal strategy of distance. For years, the monarchy seemed determined not to respond directly to Harry and Meghan's allegations. The late Queen Elizabeth Fex famously used the phrase, "Recollections may vary," after the Oprah interview. It was controlled, brief, and unmistakably royal. The institution did not engage in a public argument. It waited. Charles largely continued that approach after becoming king, but refusing to fight publicly is not the same as rebuilding privately. The Highgrove meeting suggests Charles may now be attempting something different. He may be separating the family crisis into two parts. The first is constitutional. Harry and Meghan are no longer working royals. They have independent commercial lives in the United States. There is no confirmed indication that this arrangement is changing. But the second part is personal. Can Charles have a relationship with his son? Can he know Archie and Lilibet? Can family contact exist without giving Harry a formal royal role? That may be the compromise Charles is exploring. A family reunion without an institutional restoration. Private access without public authority. Forgiveness without forgetting. But such a compromise would be extremely difficult to maintain. Every future visit would become a headline. Every private conversation would generate speculation. If Harry attended a royal family event, critics would claim he was returning to the monarchy. If he remained absent, others would insist the reconciliation had collapsed. And then there is Meghan. Her reported presence at Highgrove would make the meeting even more significant. Meghan has not returned frequently to Britain since stepping away from royal life. Her relationship with the royal institution has been marked by accusations, media battles, and public hostility. For her to enter Charles's private home with Harry and the children would represent a major moment. But it would also raise questions about Queen Camilla. Harry's memoir was sharply critical of Camilla and discussed his fear that private information could be used to improve her public image. Those passages reportedly caused particular pain for Charles. The king has spent years supporting Camilla's position beside him. He is believed to be deeply protective of her. Any reconciliation with Harry would therefore require careful handling of that relationship. Reports have suggested Camilla joined or supported the Highgrove gathering after being informed of the meeting. If true, her involvement could carry an important message. Charles may not be willing to choose between his wife and his son. Harry may have to accept Camilla's position if he wants a lasting relationship with his father, and Charles may expect every future meeting to respect that boundary. But even if Charles and Harry repair their relationship, William remains the unresolved issue. The brothers' conflict may be harder to repair because neither man appears willing to make the first major concession. Harry has publicly expressed a desire for reconciliation, but he has also demanded accountability. William, according to repeated reports, remains deeply hurt and cautious. Charles can invite Harry to Highgrove, he can meet his grandchildren, he can speak privately with his son, but he cannot order two adult brothers to trust each other again. And eventually, the king may face an impossible choice. Does he continue rebuilding his relationship with Harry even if William remains opposed? Or does he slow the process to protect the future king? That decision could shape the final years of Charles's reign. It could also define the beginning of William's.
because any agreement Charles makes now may not survive the transition to the next monarch. When William becomes king, he will have greater control over royal access, official roles, residences, and family appearances. If his relationship with Harry remains broken, the temporary bridge created by Charles could collapse. That makes the Highgrove meeting more urgent than it first appears. Charles may not simply be trying to repair the past, he may be racing against the future. And perhaps that is the real reason this meeting happened now. The king knows that time is moving. His grandchildren are growing older. Archie and Lilibet are developing lives far away from Britain. William is preparing for his eventual role as monarch. Harry is becoming more established in America. Every year of silence makes reconciliation more difficult. So, Charles appears to have done something the monarchy rarely does. He acted personally. He opened the door before every institutional problem had been solved. He allowed the family into his private home without demanding a public performance. But what happened when that door closed? Did Harry apologize? Did Charles confront him about Spare? Did Meghan speak directly with Camilla? Did Archie and Lilibet understand the importance of meeting their grandfather? And was Prince William discussed? The public may never know, but the next few months could reveal whether this was a one-time emotional reunion or the beginning of a carefully managed royal return. Watch for the small signs: a second private meeting, an invitation to a family occasion, a birthday acknowledgement from an official royal account, a photograph quietly released months later, a change in Harry's public language toward Camilla or William. Royal reconciliations rarely begin with dramatic announcements. They begin with controlled gestures: a phone call, a private invitation, a car entering a guarded estate, and then silence. But there is another possibility. The meeting may not lead anywhere. Old grievances could return. A private detail could leak. William could refuse to participate. Harry could decide that the conditions surrounding reconciliation are too restrictive. Charles could conclude that personal contact is possible, but full trust is not. In that case, Highgrove would not become the beginning of a new royal chapter. It would become a brief pause in a conflict that has already lasted years. Still, something has changed. The family that once appeared completely divided reportedly sat under the same roof. The king, who was expected to maintain distance, reportedly chose contact. The grandchildren, who had grown up far from their royal relatives, reportedly entered their grandfather's private world. And Prince Harry, once seen as permanently outside the palace system, was allowed back into a deeply personal royal space. That does not mean the Sussexes are returning as working royals. It does not mean William has forgiven his brother, and it does not mean the monarchy's crisis is over. But King Charles has made his position clearer than any official statement could. He may be unwilling to let the institution completely destroy what remains of his family. The consequences of that decision are only beginning to emerge, because Charles can open the door for Harry, but eventually someone else will inherit the keys. And when Prince William becomes king, he will have to decide whether that door stays open or whether it closes forever.